a story of when you found out that you were special. You were in an abandoned house. You heard that it was dangerous. Nobody wanted to go there apart from you because you're special. You heard that it had treasure. Special people deserve treasure, so in you went. Once you're in this abandoned house, there was trash and there was a weird smell. You came to a library in this house, and all the bookshelves are pulled down, just making a mess on the floor. And as your eyes adjust to light, you see there's a dead body on the floor. This body's been dead for a long time, it's mummified. It's wearing a red silken lounging robe, and its skull is smashed in. But that doesn't deter you. You start looking around underneath the books for this treasure that you've heard so much about, and you find something. You find a treasure chest. This treasure chest has got a rusted lock on it, which is good because maybe you don't know how to open locks yet. But you can just bash that thing open. Just like that guy's head got bashed open, you're going to bash open this lock. Now the chest is open. You flip it open and look inside. In that chest, you see there's a big dead rat. You smell it and you see it lying there among some shiny things. There are 3 stoppered bottles, glass with these lovely little corks, and they look so new. They're new and shiny and untouched. They're lying amongst the fur and the crap, but they look like they're just freshly cleaned just there for you. And there's a jeweled dagger lying back behind all of that, also looking like it was just made for you. You're starting to lean forward, and the corpse of the rat twitches. It jumps out of the chest, still as a corpse. It looks up at you and it opens its wide jaws with rotting flesh inside. And you smell this dead flesh. Its eyes are sunken in with little red pinpricks. But it turns and it sees something that you noticed on the way in, a little scurrying in the corner. And you realized the rabbits. In the hallway going in, you passed a little rabbit nest with a mother rabbit and some kits. The rat smells it and starts moving towards the rabbit. You're here by the chest. There goes the rat. What do you do? You have just a few seconds to decide what to do. What do you do? So, there are 3 major elements in D&D. The first one is world. Yeah? So, listen to this world that you're in. Some of this I borrowed, some of it I wrote, and it all follows the spirit of D&D. So, you're in a carriage. You're headed east, and you're headed towards a place called Timberway Valley. Timberway Valley is a wild frontier. There's farms there, but they're amongst ancient ruins, long overgrown by trees. You need to get there over a cold, dangerous mountain pass as you're heading upward and eastward. And to do that, you've got horses, you've got a big carriage, you've got a driver, you've got a couple guards. This costs all of the money that you had to pay for this one trip, but you want to have a new start. So this carriage starts at a place, a city, big city by local standards, called Fallcrest. Fallcrest is got a river running down through the middle, and it's split into 2 levels, like with a huge cliff between the 2. There's the upper part, which is where all the rich people are, and the lower part, which is where all the poor people are, with a big waterfall connecting the 2. So, maybe you came from there. Maybe you got on this carriage at Fallcrest, where this part of the story begins. Maybe you got on later. But if you got on here, why? Why'd you get on? Was there gang trouble? Or are you a member of a gang and you're in trouble with them? Were you just sick of the city? You want to live out in the wilds? Did maybe you worked in a shop, and that shop sold this amazing treasure, and you said, there's treasures like that in Timberway Valley, I'm out of here. So think of why you got in this carriage. As part of this, you get to make up your own backstory. You get to make up your own origin story. If you've read in your character sheets, there is a backstory on the very back sheet. You don't have to look at anything but the front sheet, by the way, tonight. But if you happen to read the back sheet, you can forget all that. You can make up your own backstory. That's just a suggestion. So, some of you right now might decide, like, yeah, okay, maybe I got on Fallcrest, but the carriage moves on, and there's another place you might have gotten on. The carriage followed the Nentir River north, and it goes towards a snowy mountain range. Now, when I look off in the distance, I have this imaginary holodeck in my mind, and that way is always north. So I'm seeing the snowy mountains that way, and I'm seeing the Nentir River over there, and the carriage is moving closer to these impossibly large mountains up ahead. So as you go toward those mountains, you go through farmland and villages, as would surround a city. So maybe this is where you got on the carriage, maybe from a farm or farmland around. So why? Did you want to start your own farm? You hear there's cheap land over in Timberway Valley. Land for the picking. You might need to clear out some monsters, but you took care of that rat at some point in your past, so you can handle a monster or two. You might want to continue your journey of fighting where you actually fought some wolves or giant rats, that come to feed on the grain and stuff. So you got up your heroics that way, and you're ready for something bigger. You think you're ready for bigger combat. Maybe you just have a terrible family that you're trying to get away from, and you just got to get on that carriage and you throw all your money at it, and off you are. I'm the hell out of here. So this may be part of the story you write for yourself. Now, this carriage, as it keeps going north, it skirts around a huge lake. This is called Lake Nen. Lake Nen is surrounded by forest. A lot of elves live here, and halflings, people who are much closer to nature or most comfortable amongst the nature compared to the humans that might have gone to the city. There's elves in actual tree houses, like a house in a tree kind of tree houses, living off the land in an almost untouched wilderness. These halflings are in those little hobbit holes, those little round doors in the sides of hills. You can actually see those as you're going by. Well, maybe you came out of one. Now, hopefully, you were a halfling if you just came out of a hobbit hole, but maybe you're a human size and you came out of a hobbit hole. That's up for you. So maybe you got on the carriage here, and why? Maybe the adventures on that lake made you long for the sea. You hear there's something that's much bigger than a lake off to the east. It's called the sea, and it's next to Timberway Valley. Maybe you know that your people, they thrive in wild lands, and that's away from the city. You can see this black smudge of smoke near with Fallcrest, and you want to get away from that, out to the pure, open lands of Timberway Valley. But maybe you had a religious experience out there. Maybe you were talked to by God, one of many gods that exist in this world, and you feel like I have a calling, and that calling is telling me to do good or do evil out there in Timberway Valley. So maybe you got on there. Think about that if that's your option. This carriage goes up that mountain road. It has these switchbacks, and once it gets up to the top, it starts heading east, basically on the ridge of the mountain. It goes over this bridge. This bridge is a stunning waterfall, and you can see it heads up the Nentier River that you've been following this whole time. You are now high up off the ground. So now in my holodeck, I'm looking this way to the south. If you look to the south, you see the river going off that way, and you see Fallcrest as this little blurry, smudgy thing on the horizon, very far away. There's an inn here called Falling Water, and it's perfectly positioned to be the place where you're going to spend the night if you're going on a long trip to Timberway Valley. So the carriage stops here for the night. Maybe this is where you first got in the carriage because you were at Falling Water. There are a lot of dwarves around here, so you can be from anywhere. No matter what it says on your sheet, you can choose any of these places. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of dwarves in this area because there's a lot of mining in these hills. There's a lot of one muscular dwarf, as a matter of fact. He's in this red fur cloak, and he's standing on the bar, and he's singing this large battle song as you come in, and everybody is drunk. So, you've had an imagination. I've spurred your imagination. You spur each other's imagination. That's the big part of D&D. You see these things in your mind if you possibly can. You paint that picture in your mind as you hear these descriptions. And you make up each part of the story when I invite you to as the Dungeon Master. I might have some ideas, but I'm trying to invite you to make up your own things, like your backstory. Where you got on and why in this carriage. You deciding that backstory. So let's do a show of hands. It's not a commitment. You can change this later on. But out of all the things I described, who feels like they got on at the big city of Fallcrest? Raise your hand. Okay, now look around at who has raised their hands for Fallcrest. Those people, if they're in your party or if they're even another party, you've seen them later on, you might have something in common. It's often good to say like, oh, maybe we knew each other in Fallcrest. Maybe we were both in that gang, or maybe we were both in that shop. So that's something to think about. There's a bond you can make up. Now, who got on at the farms north of Fallcrest? Raise your hand if you think you got on at the farmland north of Fallcrest. Yeah, look around there. Again, what do you have in common? You might have been from the same farm. You might have gotten on at Lake Nen. Raise your hand if you're at Lake Nen where all those elves and halflings are. Okay, yeah, look around there. Yep, so you have something in common with everybody's raised your hands there. Small villages, maybe they're from the same small village as you. And lastly, who got on at Falling Water Inn up in the mountains? Raise your hand there. All right, yes, look around at other people. Keep your hands up for a second. Look around at other people. Oh, yeah, you might be a fellow bandit. You might be a fellow miner. There might be a survival town that you came from. All right. So, you came from different places, and now you're unified in this carriage on a dangerous journey. So you take off from Falling Water. It's early in the morning. It's bitter cold. Your driver, who's been with you the whole time, stumbles out Looks like she's had a few drinks with that dwarf in the red cloak last night. She is flamboyantly dressed. She has a purple gown. She has very vivid makeup. She has very high hair, which she somehow maintained. And she tends to talk in verse a lot. She seems to consider herself a bit of a songstress or a poet. So she hops onto the carriage as you all get on. There's two guards here. They have spears and they have bows. You learn they are two cousins, and they are, I'm just going to randomly figure out, they're humans, all right? And they are very young. So two, like, barely out of their teens humans are your two guards on this carriage, but they swear that they are the best guards ever. And they're always challenging each other to duels, and they're always doing a lot of wrestling, and they seem confident in their own abilities. One is quite stocky and has a strong jaw and some stubble and wearing these heavy green clothes. The other one is very thin and bright-eyed with these shiny lips with a long hair braid, and they're always tussling with each other and daring each other to spot danger first. Well, they're spotting danger because you're riding off to the east through this bitter cold, and they're looking at the road quite warily, and you remember just how dangerous this journey is supposed to be. So this is when we come to the second element of D&D, which is choice. All right, you and what you choose to do. So I make the world, you make choices, and I can't control your choices. Your choices change the world, and then the world gives you different choices as a result. So you see they resonate off of each other, making D&D a little unpredictable since I can't control your choices and you don't know what's in my world. So we've already got a bit of a loop going on there. So you're coming up to your first choice as characters. All right, so you're climbing up this hill in this carriage. It's a cold, dark, early morning. And to your left, uphill, there's caves that you started to see amongst the snow. And the bright-eyed guard peers and quickly says, "Put out the lanterns." Vistra, in her flamboyant way, says, "Ah, yes, the morning lord has us well in his arms. Save the oil to slip from the grip of night," he says. The stocky guard growls and says, "We may lose more than oil. Sturges are coming." And sturges are coming this way. Sturges! They're so cute. These are like bats crossed with mosquitoes, but they're more bat-sized and more mosquito-nosed, let's just say. They're attracted by light and heat, especially on a cold morning, and they are swarming from the cave coming towards you. The guards shout, "Close the windows, close the windows!" And you try. Turns out that Vistra wasn't the best one at maintaining basic carriage window technology. Some of the windows don't close, some are very hard, you're getting in each other's way, and these sturges are hungry, so they're going very fast. So, some stay open. These things fly into the carriage with you, and they start to attack. When they attack you, you heard about this maybe, they stick their claws into your back, and they stick that nose into your neck to start sucking away your blood at a place where they're kind of hard to reach. So, we are going to get to the first choice here. So, everyone who has a rope in front of you, sat down, you got a rope. I want you to pick up that rope. I want you to hold the rope, each end of the rope in each hand. So maybe put your hand under the table, and you want to hide whether you got the red end or the silver end, right? So you put the taped end in your fist, right? Just like a number one. Hold it out to your partner. That could be the person across the table from you or next to you, but you've got to get one partner each, right? So if you have the rope, hold it to somebody who doesn't have a rope. All right, very good. Wait. Yeah, just hold on to it for now. All right. So you face them. If you do not have the rope, no, hold up your rope. Yeah. No. Everybody, one person has both ends of the rope. Don't. Yeah, both ends in one hand. Yeah, that's right. Another rope. And hide that over there. Yeah, exactly. That's okay. That's good. That's right. Just if you see somebody not doing it, just help them out. Everybody, yeah. So you're holding one rope in both your hands. Yeah. I think most people got it. All right. Now, if you are facing someone with the rope, right? If you're a partner of someone with a rope and you don't have a rope in your hand, here is what you do. You do step 2 and 3. You pick a hand and you take that end of the rope. Do that now. So pick one of the hands, take the end of the rope that you pointed to. All right, now reveal the ends that you have. One of you has a silver end and one of you has a red end. So everybody here is holding onto a rope? Yeah? We're all good? Okay. Red end, silver end. Okay, good. All right. Sanitize alert. After you do that, don't touch your face right now. So after you put the rope down, you'll want to sanitize. Try not to stick your finger in your eye right now. Okay. Anybody an odd one out? Is everybody partnered? Volunteers? Everybody set? Everybody's got a rope partner? A rope buddy? This is not going to get kinky, don't worry. All right. So, if you are holding the red end, all right, if you're holding the red end like this person on the left, a sturge is stuck into your neck and sucking away.
Never been for myself.
If you are holding the silver end, if you're holding the silver end like this person on the right is, you are in the carriage next to the person who has a sturge stuck in their neck. And you with the silver end, you can help. You have an opportunity to help. Do you want to help? That is your choice. Now, you with the silver end, there isn't a sturge stuck in your neck. You don't have the problem. To help, you're going to need to grab this very dangerous looking thing. It's got claws. It could hurt you as well or instead. You're taking a risk to help out that person on the other end of the rope. But if you don't help, that person's going to get pretty badly hurt. They're going to lose blood pretty quickly. So what do you do? Now, don't negotiate. This is going to happen in the moment. You're looking into each other's eyes right now, trying to determine what kind of person you're up against. Now, I said person, but I was wrong. The character is a character decision. You can play a character who is a real jerk. You can play a character who is selfish or paranoid. You can play a character who's very good. They can be different from your personality. They can be an ideal extreme version of your own personality. Role-playing games, D&D, the best part about it is you get to be someone else with different morals. You can explore that stuff. You can be the same or opposite. Make a choice that excites you. You can be good, you can be bad. This is how we explore. And your character may change over time. So, we're going to go to the next section, again, without negotiating who's what. There's going to be a moment of choice. I'm going to count to 3. When I say 3, if you're holding the silver end, you're going to look your partner in the eye and do either a thumbs up, which says, yeah, I'm going to help you. Or you're going to do the palm up, says, nah, I'm not going to help you. And that's going to be on 3. No time to think about it. Look your partner in the eyes. Remember, when it's silver, on 3, you hold up a thumb or a palm. No waffling. 1, 2, 3, do it. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. All right. Remember what you held up. All right. Now, if you have the silver end in your hand and you put your palm up, just wait a second, just so we don't do this next part. We're going to have a little split in the story right here, okay? So hold up if you put your hand up. If you have the silver end and you put your thumb up, you're going to save your buddy holding the red end. Okay, so you're in the carriage. You get behind your buddy, you pull on that sturge. The sturge evades your grip and it digs its claws into you and it starts scratching you. It digs into your skin. You take damage as a result. Damage looks like this. On your character sheet, there's something called hit points in your sheet, kind of the top middle. If you're confused, raise your hand and one of the volunteers will point it out. But in the top middle is something called hit points, as you can see here. See hit points there? You don't have pencils? Okay. Yeah, could you, we have a bunch of pencils. Thank you. Thank you, Step. Because you're going to need them. All right.
You need a pencil?
You see there's a hit point maximum, right? It's like a 12 or 11 or a 9 or an 8 hit point maximum. The space below that is your current hit points. So that's where you write down, you with the silver end who put your thumbs up because you got hurt, write down the maximum -1. So you can see some ideas here. So if your maximum is 12, write down 11. You took 1 point of damage, 12 minus 1, you got 11. That's taking 1 hit point of damage in D&D. All right. You who are holding the other end, if you're holding the red end and your partner put their thumb up, the sturge sucks some blood out of you as it's getting pulled out, but not for very long. You also take 1 hit point of damage. All right, same way. Use your pencil, write a new number. So, a thumb up pair, each of you has lost 1 hit point. So all of you pairs that have a thumb up, you're done for now. Keep holding on to the rope, I guess, but just wait for a second. Let's get back to those of you who have a silver end with the palm up. All right. So, if you're in a pair with that, listen about this. The other choice that you made. If you have a silver end with the palm up, you decided to stay out of danger. You step away, nope, 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 and you get away. And you with the silver end, you take no damage. Good for you. You holding the red end, you try to pull out your own sturge, and that does not go very well. The thing's body is at this weird angle, its claws is dig in deeper, it takes a few tries. By the time you pull it out, it is heavy and fat, its belly is bulging with your blood. It drank from you deeply. If you had a red end and you were facing a palm up, take 3 points of damage. Subtract 3 from your maximum hit points, just like that.
He does have the highest.
Yeah, it's just like that, but you subtract 3 instead of 1. All right.
That was that part of your thinking.
We're going to merge. This part of the story applies to everybody now. Okay, so the Sturge got crushed. It got stomped on the floor. You splatted just like a fat mosquito, like the splat of your own blood is, sort of on the carriage floor. Really gross, smeared there. There's some flapping outside the carriage. There's some latecomer Sturges. These are the old, sort of crafty ones, or maybe just the heavier ones with bigger, heavier beaks that have finally arrived. And they've been sneaky. They've come from the opposite side of the carriage. So swap the ends of your rope, please. Everybody that's holding a rope, swap the ends of the rope. You've now got a different color in your hands. Yep, silvers get red gets silver, you're all good. Again, sanitize alert, don't touch your face. Okay. We're going to do this again. Now, a Sturge is going to come back, right? So you're thinking now, if you got the silver end, if your partner played it safe when you got bit, well, is this time for revenge? Is that the kind of character you are? Or you say, I'm going to help anyway, right? Because I think we're going to take less damage overall if we help out. I know how badly you're about to get hurt, mate, so I'm going to ignore what you did to me and help you anyway. Same thing, what if your partner helped you? What if your partner, now holding the silver end, what if they took the damage and took the Sturge off you? Do you return the favor? Because you'll take a small hit, you know about that. But maybe you can play it safe because, newsflash, there are no more Sturges anymore. This is the last of them. There are no more Sturges in sight. This is the last one. So, again, remember, you are a character. Think of what your character would do, and remember that you can be however you like, whatever's the most fun. All right, so we are going to do the same thing. We're going to count to 3 with a yup and a nope. All right. Don't negotiate. Remember, on 3, if you're holding the silver end, you're going to do a thumb up or palm up. Yes, I'll help you. No. Look in your partner's eyes. 1, 2, 3, go.
Thank you.
Can't personalize.
All right.
Now we all know who we're not going to trust.
All right. So again, if you're facing a palm up, wait for a second. If you're facing a thumb up, same thing before. If you're facing a thumb up, then again, you reduce your hit points by 1. You already took some damage, didn't you? So you will subtract a little bit more, right? Just cross out the old number you had and write the yet lower number. So if you lost 1 hit point, just like you expected, now you have 1 fewer hit point. If you're facing someone with a thumb up, each of you takes 1 hit point of damage, just like the first time through. Now again, if you're totally confused, raise your hand and somebody can help you out. So again, sucks out blood, all that stuff, 1 damage, pencil. Okay, you're done? Those of you who have the silver end with your palm up, you decide to stay out of danger, you step back, nope. And as you would expect, those of you who are facing a palm up, if you have the red end, you lose 3 hit points, just like you knew you would. Subtract 3 hit points of damage because you have a partner who did not help you. If it's your first damage, it's your maximum -3. If you've already had some damage, just subtract another bit, basic math. All right. Now, that was a very basic choice. D&D gets, as you might have heard, very complicated, but I like to layer things on a bit at a time because at its very core is thinking like your character and making choices with maybe a little bit of randomness, like who got the red end first. It was the only random thing that's happened so far. Imagine what happens when we start using dice and more complicated choices. And remember, it's fine if your character is selfish. That's a strong choice. If that excites you to play that kind of character, then go for it and give yourself somewhere to go. Flaws are interesting. Maybe in real life you're just so nice. You really want to just be a real jerk in this game. That's fun. But even selfish characters sometimes decide, I'm still going to cooperate because I know that we're stronger in a group than me going off alone. It's a dangerous world. So you find the sort of balance between being selfish and working on a team. This is a team game. It's like being in a sport. And characters can evolve, as I said. Now, your table should have 4 people right now. I think that's the case. Yep, okay. So, if you came here with someone, make sure you stay in the same group. No mates should be split up. So for whatever reason, 2 mates have gotten on 2 tables. This is your chance to make sure you stay with your mates. Otherwise, you around the table are an adventuring party. And we are going to get stuck into it. You should have 4 people, all with different colored character sheets. You've probably been talking about those. You got variety in your team. Everybody set? Nobody confused? We're all good? Okay. All right. So, when you play D&D for real, because guess what, this isn't how people usually play D&D. I'm one dungeon master with 12 different groups. Usually it's 2 to 5 players sitting around a table with one dungeon master and just you. So I want you to imagine that you are at your table alone. You can look at the other tables for fun, but really focus on what each other is doing. So imagine you are at the table and I'm at the end of your table and I'm your DM. I'm running the game. So you can drop the rope, you can put it down and sanitize. Sanitize your hands, please. I'm not going to require you, but this is your big chance to sanitize. All right. So tonight, each of you adventuring parties are going to pretend that you are around that table and I'm there. I'm going to DM for all of you at once. And we're doing it. We're getting started. I hope you're having fun. It gets a lot better from here. Right? We've gotten some of the basics out of the way, and we'll start speeding things up. So we get to the third element, which is the dice. The third element of D&D. Nobody controls the dice. Even if your friend says they have some sort of weird psychic trick, they are wrong. They don't have lucky dice. They don't have unlucky dice. The world is random. Get used to it. The dice are random. So you have a couple dice here. Usually everybody has their own die, but we're kind of economizing here. So you're sharing the dice. The dice give the story random twists that you roll with. And remember, we're making a story together. It's like improv. We're better off rolling with the choices. Just like you roll a die, you roll with what happens. You learn to have fun with the failure as well as the success. You try to support each other in all those things. You will hate the dice sometimes, but they often lead to a really good story. So these 3 elements, they all now are bouncing off each other to make magic. I will adjust the world for random reasons. Your choices will result in dice being rolled. The dice will then lead you to want to make different choices next time. You're going to optimize your choices based on what the dice have been doing. The world is still being affected by our choices, and it's like this crazy contraption that moves around, and nobody's in control. And that's what's so great about D&D. I'm not in control. The DM is kind of godlike. Maybe God doesn't have a lot of control, it turns out. I don't know what's going to happen in a D&D session. We make that story together, and that's the great part about it. Okay, so we're going to start doing things as a party. So each of you in this adventuring party, you're good at different things. You each have a chance to shine, as DMs like to call it. So imagine this carriage, each of you at your own table, has all of you in the adventuring party, all of you at the table together. Also in this carriage, there's a few regular people, some townies, just regular people who aren't really, they never had that special moment. They never realized how special they were like you did. They're really not special. Let's just say that because they're not here. They're in the carriage with you. They are freaked out. They're not adventurous types. Blood, sturges, all that stuff, yeah, they haven't been having a good time. So you are keeping calm. As you go to the next stage of this carriage ride, you're riding that carriage. You've been climbing, you're finally at the summit of this. It's snow on the ground, the horse's breath is steaming out in front of you in this bitter cold. It's about noon, you've been traveling for several hours now. The road has gotten narrower. There's that steep mountainside. Before it was just caves with shallow hills. Now it's quite a steep, sheer drop off. It's a cliff to one side, to your left, and to the right, it's a very steep hill down with a few foothills all the way down. You can roll all the way to Fall Crest if you rolled off at this point. And that's when you see a giant baby. I mean, a baby giant. I mean, like a baby whose giant size, like if a giant had a baby, that's what you see. You see a giant baby. All right, first you hear it. Toddler laughs, but sort of more resonant than I can possibly do. This baby comes around the corner in the road in front of you. The baby has a red sash around its waist and has lots of dead animals tied to it. It sees you, its eyes light up. It wants to play with you. It starts running towards the carriage. Before you know it, is grabbed onto the carriage like his favorite toy, and it starts to push on it back and forth. It's starting to rock back and forth near that sheer drop to the side. It will fall and roll, and who knows when it will stop rolling, so you might want to stop this. And it's time for a hero! So, one person at your table is the best one to push back in the situation. One person should get out because there's only so much footing out there. Who has a strength of +3? On this slide, over on the left side, you have a little thing labeled strength. It has a big fat +3 there. Maybe you don't have a +3, right? If you have a yellow sheet, you have a +3. But what if there's no yellow sheet? Okay, who still has the highest strength, right? So if you didn't find a big +3 around the table. Okay. So those of you noble human fighters, you had a +3. If you have the +3, grab that die and hold it up. Like, yeah, I'm the strong one. So hold up the die now, because you're definitely going to do it. But If you don't have that noble human fighter, that one in yellow, who has a strength of +2? All right? The dwarven clerics, you have your pink sheets, you have a strength of +2. That folksy human bow fighter, you also have a strength of +2. Well, that's good. Both of you are tied for the strongest, yeah? If you have 2 people who have a +2, you both manage to get out of the carriage at about the same speed. You feel like you can work together pretty well because you're evenly matched. So if you're tied, both of you get a die ready if you have a +2. All right. So you strong heroes, now again, this is a very simplified form of D&D. I'm just giving you a couple branches. Normally it'd be like, what do you do? And say, I'm going to cast a spell. I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to the baby. I'm going to run and whatever else. Let's keep this simple with this many people. Let's just say you're going to decide as strong heroes to get out of the carriage and just try to push the carriage back. The most basic thing you can do. Now I'm going to pretend to be one of you. So one of you has the yellow sheet over there. I can see over there holding your die, right? So I've got my die, and I need to know my strength bonus. So I look it up. I know I have a +3, and I've got my die, all right? So I roll this die, and I add 3 to what comes up with it, right? So I roll, right? Let's say it comes up like that. So let's say I get a 5, right? I rolled a 5. Now I remember my 3, 8, okay. So I got an 8. Now I would tell the dungeon master, I got an 8. You don't have to say what you rolled, just give the total at the end. It's faster. So that's my number. Is 8 high enough to stop the giant baby from rolling the carriage over the edge? Higher is better. So all you strong heroes that are holding up your die, whether it's 1 or 2 of you at the table, roll it. Look up your strength bonus. Add your 3, add your 2, whatever you got. Add that up. All right. So you got your first random outcome. Is your total, in order to stop the baby, is your total 12 or higher? If you got a 12 or higher, right? You're the noble and you rolled a 9, that means you got a 12, you know the deal, right? 12 is enough to win. Those green and pink ones, if you both roll, if either one of you rolled a 12, hey, it also counts. Only one of you needs to succeed if you both did. If 2 heroes rolled, that's a win. All right, sanitize. You just put down the die and sanitize. All right. Some parties have a winner and some parties have a loser. We'll do a little split in the story now to take care of that. You didn't get high enough or you got high enough. All right, so if your party has a winner, everybody at your table, raise your fists and say, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hell yeah!
Ooh, that's a lot of you. All right, those of you with a winner, here's what happened to you. The strong heroes get out of the carriage. The rest of you are terrified inside, kind of frozen. You get in that pushing war with the carriage, with the baby, right? Back and forth. The baby wants to push it over. You push back and forth. You hear a voice in the distance, a mum voice. Tyrone! Lunchtime! Get back here, you dummy! The giant baby looks very guilty all of a sudden. It brushes itself off, cleans itself up, puts a huge finger against one nostril and blows. There's a sparkle. There's a ringing sound. Copper coins have come out of its nose. Your first treasure. And the baby runs back to mom. So if you were in a party that won, if you got that 12 or higher, write your treasure on your sheet. Each of you get this treasure because you split up these coins. 9 copper pieces. In your section here at the bottom, there's a little section at the top. There's a very faint CP copper pieces. They're like pennies, right? Oh, they're all right, you know. They're worth maybe like 20-cent pieces, basically, each copper piece. So, write a 9 there. You now have 9 copper pieces. If you have a green pencil, use the green pencil because they're snotty coins. Yes, you borrow that green pencil. And then sanitize. Okay. Now, that's good. Congratulations. Now, those of you who are at a table where your hero or heroes did not get a 12 or higher, I want you to stomp your feet and yell, oh shit, on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh shit! Yeah, right, good. See, I know my job as good as a dungeon master. If sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Yeah, it's too boring if it turns out good and bad all the time. So those of you with no winner, here's what happens to you. Strong heroes get out of the carriage. The rest of you are terrified. Push of war, blah, blah, blah. The baby strong. The heroes are not strong enough. And the baby wins. The carriage rolls over. It goes downhill. It rolls again and then hits a rock and stops after only one roll. The horses have broken free. Everybody in the party, including the heroes, has gotten hurt by this. Everybody lose 1 hit point. If you were in a losing party, same deal as before, you've lost another hit point, just like with the Sturges. So, you're getting the idea? Whee! Again, very basic choices. Real D&D is much more complex, but I'm showing you the basics here. Hopefully everybody's keeping up. If it's a little slow, it's all right. It'll speed up. Around the table will get even faster. Okay, the story continues. The carriage continues. Someone else is going to get a chance to shine, or they will fail trying. So you're now past the summit. You're going downhill, and you see Timberway Valley because you're on the far side of that damn mountain range. And it is gorgeous, right? Off to the east is my holodeck here, and I'm looking way down at just a sea of trees down there. There's a river that's coming from the north, makes a big bend and heads out to the east, pretty much straight out from where we are right now. And you can see there's another little line of hills, not nearly as high, and this sort of gray, blue, smudgy line off there. Ah, that's the sea. You've heard about this. You can see the ocean from here on this beautiful day. Where that bridge crosses, you can actually see a little tiny toothpick across that bend. That's the bridge that you heard about. That's Timberway Bridge. You know that this road is going to go down, it's going to cross that bridge, and there's the farmland over there on the far side of the river. As a matter of fact, if you have keen eyes, you might be able to tell there's like little squares, you know. Maybe you can even see little specks that might be farmhouses out there. This is your new home off in the distance, but there's a problem. The carriage suddenly stops while you're out looking at this beautiful view. And it's because lying in the road, across the road, is a figure. They have long hair in an extravagant pompadour. They have fancy, very shiny silver splinted armor, expensive stuff. And they raise their head. You see they have a kind of visor over their eyes, like a big boxy silver shape covering their eyes. They push it up onto their forehead, and you can see there's this burned band of skin across their eyes, this red blistered rectangle right where that visor was. From under the body, they grab a broom. They sit up. They look at you with this wild look with those burned eyes. They start to get on the broom, and they look at you and point and cackle. Horsies! Horsies! Heat rises! Horsies! Ah, come on, horsies, I need you to pull the chariot! Pointing at the horses, talking of the chariot, gets onto the broom. They rise up, and as they rise up, you can see that they move their hands, they start to stare at the horses with great intensity. They seem to be concentrating on something. The horses start to sort of nicker and scream. You see the chains and the buckles that are all around the horses. They are starting to glow, a dull red and then a fiery red, as the metal seems to be heating up, magically you assume, because of that one up there, concentrating. So they're up on their broom, they're hovering way up above you, and they're obviously casting a spell. Well, you can stop someone from casting a spell, but if you fire once at this person, surprisingly, they're probably not expecting you to do it. They seem to be kind of out of their mind. They'll probably move out of the line of sight, right? But they're going to be able to keep concentrating on that spell, so you get one shot. All right. So the first shot won't kill them, probably, but it might make them stop that spell. So is once more time for a hero. Who is the best in your party who has an attack bonus of +7? In the middle of your sheet, you'll see something here, longbow +7, but who has the highest attack bonus with a bow of some sort? It's got to be a short bow or a long bow, maybe a crossbow. So, if you've got a +7, you are the hero. Hold up the die, because you're going to roll. If you got a +7, yeah, hold. Don't roll it, just hold it. That's a longbow. If you do not have a green-sheeted folk hero fighter, that's okay. Who has a short bow with a +5? You probably have a short bow with a +5. Those halfling rogues, yeah, with the blue sheets. You're the best shot. Raise your die if you have a +5, and there isn't a +7, right? So, everybody's got a die, ready to roll? If you're confused, look very confused and try to get somebody's attention. All right. So, if two people are tied for whatever reason, again, you can both take the shot at the same time. So both of you are tied for the best attack bonus with a bow. That's fine. I don't think anybody has neither of those. Everybody's set. Okay. Anybody confused? This is the first attack. All right. So you shooters, you're going to raise your bows very quickly. You know, you're kind of watching, dealing with the horses and all that stuff. You quickly pull out your bow and aim and fire. Try to take this spellcaster by surprise. Well, they look surprised. They start to move, but you're faster. So I'll pretend to be you, right? So if I've got a green sheet in my eye, see right there, right? So I'm going to look up my attack bonus, right? So I see on that part where it has up on the slide, right? That's the +7, right? So blue sheets, you got that 5. All right, you add it. That's what your total, okay? So take your die and roll it. Add that bonus.
You're gonna get I told you. Stuck with
I love when people blame each other for rolling low. This is the greatest part. All right.
you.
10 might be enough.
No, it worked.
Okay.
So close.
So you've rolled the dice, you've added that attack bonus, and you now have a number. Is your total 16 or higher? Oh, what? Yes. Someone is very hard to hit. They're on a broom. They've got very fancy armor. They are flying around. It's hard to hit someone like this. Yes. So it means, yeah, if you rolled a 9, I guess, if you're the folk hero with the green thing, rolling a 9 was necessary, right? Blah, blah, blah. 16. If both of you rolled, if either one got a 16, it's a win. Only one of you needs to get it if 2 of you rolled. Okay. Drop the die and sanitize. All right. So, if your party has a winner, I want you at your table with that winning party member who shot the person to raise your fist and say, hell yeah, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, all right. Those of you with the winner, here's what happens. The bow goes twang. The arrow hits through a gap in the armor, right in that spot you're aiming for. It breaks their concentration. The heat suddenly stops. They pull out the arrow up on their broom. They throw the arrow back at you. Say, rude! A bunch of silver seems to fly off their hand. They had lots of silver bracelets on. They go flinging in every direction and come tumbling down into the road. And they flee west on that broom. There's silver there, and that is treasure. If you were in a party that won, you have put down silver bracelet 15 SP. You don't write it as coins. Coins are over here. This is a silver bracelet that is worth 15 silver pieces. Right? So you can sell it later on. You can trade it for 15 silver pieces. Sorry, not 15. That's 1 SP. Sorry. The S looks like a 5 to me. 1 SP. Still not bad. 1 silver piece is worth 10 copper pieces, by the way. So you're getting there. You're getting there. Okay. So at a distance, off the road, something else silver has fallen into the woods. As that figure disappears off the road, you see something fall. That's a teaser for the full session. Those of you who remember, like, hey, we're at that spot where that person had that silver thing fall. I'm going to go look for it. You can tell me that 9 months from now, and I will let you find that silver thing. So make a note of that. But you don't have time for that right now. You got to get going. Vistra wants to get back on the road. Something's bothering her. The horses are okay. Their hair is scorched quite a bit, but Vistra's very thankful for stopping that spell. Now, if your party did not have a winner, you did not roll high enough, I want you to stomp your feet and yell, oh shit, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh shit.
Those of you with no winner, here's what happens. If you did a pretty good roll, like it was close, then imagine the arrow hit them but bounced off their armor, right? If you rolled really low, it just means that you just missed entirely. They just moved a little bit too fast, right? Like below 10, sorry, you probably just missed entirely. They give you the fork from their room. They fly off to the side, out of sight. The trees are now in the way, but they can still concentrate on that spell. The fire, the metal is now cherry red and is devastating. It keeps on going. You start to uncouple the hot chains from the horses. Vistra, as everybody's working on it, it burns your hands as you're taking these hot chains off. You all lose 1 hit point. Just like with the Sturges. Also, the horses are burned very badly. That may affect things later on. They've lost hit points. They have hit points just like you. Those horses lost hit points. And Vistra, most importantly, is really upset. Okay. That took a lot of time. No matter, we're going to reunite the stories here. You had to reharness the horses. You had to calm them down. That giant baby delayed things. The driver, Vistra, she is panicking. She's saying, we've got to get to the valley floor before dark. The guards are peering out. Well, the sun is setting. You're going this way. The sun is back there. So the mountain that's behind you is casting this long shadow. You can almost see it moving along the valley floor. And you are pelting downhill, pretty much out of control in this carriage. The valley floor is sunny, but it's going to be close wherever you're heading. So we're go, go, go. This winds a little bit, eventually flattens out more, still a little bit steep. There's boulders all around. All the stuff that crumbled off the mountains over the millennia is all around you. You're in the shadows still, but you see up ahead, there's that line of sunlight, and you're racing towards it. It's just a minute away, but you're too late. Of course, you're too late. There's this rumble. Boulders are rolling down on either side and crack in front of you. They block the road. You think you see small figures in the dark gloom that were pushing these boulders. Whoa, the horses, they rear back. They're all confused. The road is blocked. And on all sides, small creatures come out from behind those rocks in the shadow, hard to see. Vistra screams to the sky, no! We almost reached the sunlight! Gods! Morning, Lord! Save us! Bring us your light! The gods may be listening, but maybe they're not doing anything about it. The kobolds attack you. All right, kobolds! Kobolds. They have a red dragony type skin. They're covered with scales. They're short. They're small. They're only up to your waist. They're kind of cute in that way, but they're covered with scales. They got teeth. They got daggers. They've got whips. They got slings. They're twirling their slings from far away where they can fling rocks at you. They have these beady, cold eyes. You know that kobolds are extremely greedy, generally. There's exceptions to everything, but man, your average kobold worships dragons, and they want to give as much money as possible to the dragons they worship. That makes them extremely greedy. It drives them to do some pretty nasty things. It looks like they might be those kind of kobolds. After you, the carriage is rocking a little bit because the kobolds are on you. They're starting to climb up on the carriage, and they're slashing the straps. Their straps are holding on all of your things, your chests and your bedrolls and stuff. A chest, you can sort of see out the window, a chest is freed from the straps. It falls to the ground. There's this crunching, shattering sound. It breaks open, and there's this big, shiny sphere inside one of the chests. None of you have this chest. It's somebody else in the carriage has this chest. It's like a big orb. It's like balls within balls, circles within circles kind of thing, made of brass. You only see that for a moment. The kobolds notice that, but they just keep looting. They're scooping stuff out. And the others start moving into attack because they know that you have some things that they need as well. The guards up top, those two cousins, they call for help, so you get out of the carriage and you are ready to fight. So we're going to do some combat. All right. So I'll pick a volunteer here in front of me. Maybe we'll go you with the green in front of me because you're right close to me. So we'll show you how to attack. We'll walk through, okay? So actually, my example here is a rogue. And you're a rogue. Okay, so you're a rogue. And you can see there you've got a short sword, all right? So let's pretend that you rolled a 10. Same deal as before. Let's pretend you rolled a 10. Now, the kobold is pretty tough to hit. You can see here on this slide that the number you rolled, 10, is less than what's called the AC, the armor class. That's how tough it is to hit. Either it's good at dodging out of the way, or it's just got tough skin or armor that's hard to get through. So 10 is less than 12. That would mean, no, you don't get to do the kobold. But wait, you're a hero. You get to add a modifier to it. All right, you're not ordinary. You know how to fight. So that's more like it. All right, you, rogue, get to add 5 to the number that you rolled because that's what it says there next to short sword. Yeah? So you get to add 5. What's that add up to? 15. That's great. That's more than 12. Hell yeah! All right, so you hit the kobold with your sword. That's a round of combat. But that was just pretend. Sorry, too bad. Okay. Now, let's pretend that you rolled a 5. All right. That adds up to 5. You add 5 to that. It's still 10. 10 is still less than 12. Despite your heroism, you still did not hit the kobold. Too bad, and it's coming for you. Oh, shit. All right. So, if you're ready, we're all going to do that now. We'll step through different roles in combat. So, I'm going to do this where the first characters among you that go are the ones that are the fastest to get stuck into the combat. This is actually based on your dexterity bonus, by the way. The higher your dexterity bonus, the faster you tend to get involved in combat. But I'm going to be talking to each of you in turn, each class in turn. But I want all of you to listen to what's happening to everybody else. I want you to picture this in your mind. It's a bit like a cinematic, albeit a slow-moving cinematic. But when you remember it later on, it'll seem faster. All right. So, halfling rogues with blue sheets. You probably know what this looks like, right? So if you're a halfling rogue with a blue sheet, this is your turn. You are the brave one. You are the fast one if you're a halfling rogue. If there's no rogue, don't worry about this. We'll get to you later. That short sword is pretty large in your small hand, and you are about this tall. You're about as high as the kobold, right? The kobold is slashing the dagger at one of those guards. You come at the kobold from the blind side. Yeah, you do what's called a sneak attack. You roll a d20 now, all you rogues, and add 5 because you're a hero. Roll your d20 and add 5. All right. Rogues only. Roll and add 5. If your total is 12 or higher, that's the armor class of the kobold. That means that you hit. Congratulations. All right. So if you hit it, if you rolled a total of 12, and we say hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. Oh, louder. 1, 2, 3. You hit a kobold. Yeah. Yes. Okay. This, tell your story. You cut its throat. A spectacular bloody death that sprays all over the people around you. It's wonderful. If you did not roll high enough halfling rogues, you have a slightly different story. Your thing did not add up to 12. You missed it, so you got to say, oh shit on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh shit. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. As you run up, the kobold saw you out of the corner of its eye, and it turned its shoulder, its scaly shoulder into you, and knocked you back. before you slash, you whip into the air. The kobold is still alive and now wants to attack you. If you just let go of the die, please sanitize, etc. Okay, elven wizards. Those of you with the purple sheets, it is your turn. Now, you're a wizard. You hang back. You don't want to get in the front line. You will find out why. You hold up your palm and you swirl it around. It starts to glow this sort of bluish white light, and a beam of that color comes out from the palm, sort of like a flashlight, and you can aim it quite a distance. And you're trying to steer it towards that kobold that you can see at a distance. All right, roll d20 if you're a wizard. Add 5, because this is your attack modifier. You hero, roll d20, add 5. Yeah, I'm hearing enough groans. I want to hear some oh shits next time. I don't want to hear just one oh shit. I want to hear a lot of oh shits this time. All right. If you rolled high enough, if you got a 12 or higher, yell hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. All right. Ooh, not too many. All right, wizards. So if you're a wizard that rolled high, you hit the kobold in the leg, and the leg freezes. It starts to limp and move slower. That's one of the nice things about the ice beam. It slows them down as well. So you can catch up and just kind of paint them, like all over until they're covered with ice. They fall over dead and frozen. Very good. Dead kobold. If you did not roll high enough, yell oh shit on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shit. Yes, more like it. You flash over the kobold. It left a little icy stripe on its leg, not enough to do much to it. It dodges, it rolled out of the way. You can't follow it, and it is alive. It starts swirling that sling, looking at you, and it wants to hit you next. It's angry. All right, sanitized, etc., etc. Human folk hero fighters with the green sheets. It is your turn. You folk hero fighters, you pull out your bow. You scan for an open target. You see a kobold leaning out from between two boulders that has already shot a few different times, and it's like one of the sharpshooters of the group. It's very dangerous. You decide this one is your target. It's hard to hit because it's partly behind that boulder, but you are especially good. So you decide to do that with confidence. You aim at that kobold. As arrow flies towards it, the twang, roll d20 and add 5. You're only adding 5, not 7, because of that boulder. That boulder means that you only get to add 5 instead of 7. All right. So you who just rolled, if you rolled high enough, it out to 12. On 3, roll hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. Yeah. So thunk, an arrow right in his neck. It falls down dead. Very good shot. If you did not roll high enough, not 12, yell oh shit on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh shit. Yeah, that arrow hits the rock that it was behind. Especially if you got really close to hit the rock. If you rolled low, the rock didn't matter because you kind of missed it entirely. But that's okay. Yes, it's mad, it's alive, and it's looking with that sling. Sanitize. Okay, human noble fighters. You're not the fastest, but you really can show up, when it's your turn to fight. You've got that yellow sheet. All right, you face down the kobold toe to toe. Kobold's got a dagger. You're a human. You're much taller than it, and you have a huge great axe. You use both your hands and chop down on that kobold. You roll d20 and add 5 noble fighters with yellow sheets. All right, so if you rolled high enough, if it adds up to 12, if you got 12 noble fighters and everybody with them, roll hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. Yeah, you cleave that axe into his chest and it dies at your feet. Did not roll high enough. It didn't add up to 12. Say oh shit. 1, 2, 3. Oh shit. The great axe was a little slow. The kobold jumps out of the way and it bites into the stones of the road. Lastly, but not leastly, the dwarven clerics with the pink sheets. It's your turn. Now, something special happens because you talk to God. All right. You see a kobold far off behind the rocks. It sounds like it's strangling someone. You just see the very top of his head sort of appear once in a while as it's just kind of wrestling with someone very dangerously. It must be a carriage passenger who tried to run. Anybody else in the party, they'd have to run all the way around to get there to get a clear shot. Shooters would find it hard to hit. So you call on whatever god you worship. And I say whatever. There are gods in D&D. Whatever you believe in the real world, they are real in D&D. But are they really gods? Like, are they all powerful? Or are they just like really powerful adventurers in some place you haven't gotten to yet? That's for you to decide or discover. But there are multiples of them, and you are tuned into one of them. You get to decide what god you follow as a cleric. It could be good god, evil god, lawful, chaotic, whatever, god of nature, all various kinds. Whatever's written on your sheet, if you've seen the name of a god, you can change that later on. Don't worry about that. You can die whatever you want. Kobold will be very hard to hit in any way, but when a god is doing it, it doesn't matter, so you pray. and a bolt of fire appears. It roll d20 and add 5. If you're a cleric, roll d20 and add 5. That bolt of fire does it as target.
13. Just got it.
Woo!
Got it.
All right. If you rolled high enough, if it added up to 12, which is the AC of the kobold, yell hell yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. That kobold burned to a crisp. Oh yeah, very satisfying. If you did not roll high enough, first of all, it's your fault, not God's fault. That's number 1. I want you to yell oh shit on 3. 1, 2, 3. And say it like you mean it, because God's listening. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you're sorry. God knows you're sorry. That fire was definitely on target, because the gods don't make mistakes. But the kobold saw it coming, maybe, and rolled and dove out of the way. And the kobold is mad at you. But at least it's not strangling that person anymore, so you did some good. All right, now it's the kobold's turn in combat. Same as you, they get a turn. Same as you, they roll dice, and they have stats. If you did not kill your kobold, so if you personally did not kill your kobold, if you yelled oh shit during your bit, you're in big danger. This kobold wants to attack you. If you killed your kobold and you yelled oh yeah, that's great, but there are quite a few kobolds, so don't rest easy quite yet. I'll call out to each of you to see if a kobold hits you, or 2. And now the die is mine to roll. All right, so yeah, I play the part of the kobold. I want to roll high, just like you did, same rules. I'm going to add to see if it hits your AC. Your AC. You have a little shield up top. That is your armor class, just like the shield had. The higher the number it is, the higher my roll has to be in order for the kobold to hit you. You see that some of you have high, some of you have low ACs, and that's going to affect how things go. When I roll my die, I'm going to add 4 because I'm a kobold and I'm not quite as heroic as you, but that's okay. I've got lots of us. All right, so I want to roll high and I want to kill you. So we'll quickly go through all of you. Halfling rogues with the blue sheets. You saw that? Your AC is what? 14, that's right. You got leather armor. It's, chain is really too heavy and clunky, if you want to sneak around. You got high dexterity, and leather armor lets you dodge out of the way, so that's why you're harder to hit. You jump out of the way. So kobold rushes in towards you, rogue, from the shadows. This is if you did not kill your kobold. This applies to you. If you killed your kobold, ignore this part. Kobold rushes in from the shadows and lashes out with his dagger. I roll my die. I'm going to add 4, and I got an 8. 8. No, that is less than 14. So it's time for me to say, oh shit! So, rogues yell, hell yeah! 1, 2, 3. That's okay, that's okay. We'll let the kobolds do all the shouting. All right. So, this is what happens. That was really low, so I would say that you dodge out of the way, right? It doesn't even scratch your nice leather armor because you are so fast on your feet. No harm. If you are a rogue who has not killed your kobold yet, during that last round, let's continue the story with an attack by the kobold you missed. All right. So if you killed your kobold, ignore this part. But if you didn't kill your kobold, wait, hang on, say. Each of you, that's right. Okay. Sorry, all of you rogues, whether you killed your kobold or not. Yeah. So, killed your kobold yet? Sorry, kobold you missed. If you did kill your kobold, okay. So. Everybody, all of the rogues are okay. All of you rogues in the world, whether you killed your kobold or not, got missed. Those of you who failed to kill your kobold have a second one to deal with, right? This is the second one that's coming at you, and I'm going to now roll one more time, because I get another shot to get you. If you missed your kobold, I rolled, a 12 plus 4 is 16. That's higher than your AC, higher than 14. So those of you rogues that did not kill your kobold last time, you take some damage. You take 2 hit points of damage. So you rogues that did not kill a kobold earlier, you subtract 2 hit points. Use your pencil. Elf wizards, you with the purple sheets. Your AC is what, wizards? AC 12. Oh, well, 12 actually is pretty good for a wizard, right? You have no armor, so don't even worry about that. But you got pretty high dexterity. You're a little good on your feet for a wizard, so you dodge well. Most wizards have AC 10. And they need lots of protection by armored friends. So a kobold pops up in the distance. Again, this applies to all of you wizards out there. It zips its sling around, and a stone is flying at you like a bullet. I'm going to roll my die, add 4. That's a 13 plus 4. That is 17. That's more than your AC 12. So wizards, you can yell, oh shit, 1, 2. No, I'm going to yell, hell yeah. 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah. Yeah, kobold hit you. The stone cracks your collarbone, wizards. All of you wizards get a stone at you. If you have a purple sheet, subtract 2 HP. Yes.
Just take it easy. Just take it easy.
All right. If anybody at 0 HP? No? Okay. All right. Bad luck. All right. Okay. If you're a wizard who has not killed your kobold, if you did not kill your kobold last time, we're going to continue the story with an attack by the kobold you missed. And if you did kill your kobold, you ignore this bit. So here we go again. You wizards only who failed to kill your kobold. A 10 plus 4 is a 14. Wizards, again, if you did not kill your kobold last time, subtract another 2 HP. Is anybody 0 yet? Down to 1. Ah, so fun being a wizard. All right. Meanwhile, the human folk fighters with the green sheets. Your AC is what? Green sheets? 14. Yeah, you got leather armor. You couldn't afford chainmail. You know, you could have gotten chainmail. You're still saving up for that. You know, maybe you didn't major very well. You couldn't, but you got high dexterity, so that's good. A kobold appears behind that boulder, hurls a javelin at you. I'm going to roll, and I'm going to get. I rolled a 1, which means I miss. I don't even bother adding anything. It's an automatic miss. Okay, that means that less your folk, you all are fine. I yell, "Oh shit!" as the kobold. You twist away. I'd say the kobold, man, it like hits itself with the sling, like it drops its sling. It's going to be really ridiculous. Now, if you're a folk hero who did not kill your kobold, there's another kobold, the angry one that you missed before. It's coming after you. Ooh, I rolled a 17 this time. Plus 4 is 21. That is higher than your AC. So, hell yeah, says the kobolds to you. Faces with human folk hero fighters. Lose 2 hit points, please. 2 hit points down. Human noble fighters with the yellow sheets. Your AC is what? Ooh, 17. Very fancy. You have chainmail. Oh, very nice. Very expensive. The kobold runs up to you at a sprint and swings a club at you. I'm going to roll my die. I'm going to add 4 and get a 13. Aye, not a problem. Your armor class is 17. Oh, shit, says the kobold. It best bounces off your chainmail. You're fine. However, if you did not kill your previous kobold, you've got another one at you, noble fighters. The second shot by the kobold is 12 plus 4 is 16. Oh, shit, says the kobold. It smacks you really hard, but ooh, you get a bit of a bruise. But that chainmail is so strong. That would have hit other people in your party. It does not hit you. You are fine. Lastly, dwarven clerics with the pink sheets. Your AC is what?
18.
18? That's right, you have got chainmail, but you've also got a shield. That adds 1 more because you're tying up one of your hands. Remember, the noble fighter had got a 2-handed sword. You've got a 1-handed weapon, does a little bit less damage, but you got that shield, better protection, and you're the one that should stay alive because you're the cleric. You got to make everybody else stay alive as well. So, you got a warhammer in one hand, and you got the shield in the other. A sling is slung at you. I'm going to roll this, try and hit you. 6 plus 4, 10, not a problem. I mean, you move a little bit heavily. It probably just like grazes off your shoulder or something like that. But if you are a cleric who did not kill your kobold, you got a second one after you. So my second attack for those of you who did that was, no, only an 8. 4 plus 4. Again, you dodge out of the way. Clerics, you're fine. You got this. Help the wizard, for God's sake. Okay. All right. So nobody's at 0 hit points. I think we established that, but you're getting kind of close. All right. Here we go. So, I've got some really good news. You and the guards killed quite a few kobolds. That's good. I've got some bad news. There's a lot of kobolds. You did well, but just like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, even good fighters can lose sometime. It's gotten very dark now, and now you know why Vistra was so terrified and wanted to be here in the daylight. The kobolds swarm from every direction. You can't see them coming. They're firing at you before you even know you're there. They're flinging death. They're stabbing. They're slashing. Horse goes down with a scream, stabbed by many knives. Another one runs off into the darkness. Driver Vistra, you see her throat slit in front of you. Bye-bye, Vistra. One of the guards, his head is being bashed in with a rock. His cousin comes up, jumps, stabs the kobold, doing it in the back. One jumps from the boulder onto her back, so you got like a temporary stack of 1, 2, 3. With a dagger in her back, she falls. Dead. Bye-bye, guards. The other passengers, they surrender. The kobolds don't want to take prisoners. They start slashing throats and start taking wallets. You don't want to leave someone alive. You take their money, they tend to come after you. They're better off dead. Some have got daggers put to their throats, looking around for orders. You heroes are surrounded. You're facing death. And you think this is the end. And that's the break. So you are just level 1. That 1 next to your name up there, that means you are level 1. But this is why you're seeking adventure. You want to get experience. You will overcome enemies like this if you just get a little bit better off. You might be level 2 or level 3. You might have won this battle, but not today. Good night. Thank you, everybody. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So no, story goes on. No. You're not going to die. You're breathing your last. You think so. But an especially well-armored and bejeweled kobold sees that broken open chest I mentioned earlier, with the orbs within orbs, with those shiny spheres, and she calls out to the others, and they stop their slaying. She speaks in a language that most of you don't understand. They call her Nat Nat. She's obviously a leader. She kicks open the pieces of the chest, and she probes that sphere there. And you intelligent ones in the party, you recognize it. It's an orrery. It's a way to tell the heavens where different heavenly bodies are. It's a model of this vast space around your world, stars and meteors. It looks broken. And Nat Nat is very excited. She says something to the kobolds in this odd language. If you're a noble fighter, and a wizard, you understand this language. It's called Draconic. It's the language of dragons. So you understand it. They don't use the word orrery. They use this other weird word that has a lot of X and S sounds in it. They point up at an angle at the same time, an angle off to the east at a certain elevation. And they talk about that. Nat Nat wants you kept alive. You're taken as prisoners to the south. They want to sell you and sell the orrery and keep you all alive to do that. Because one of you must own this thing and you must know how to work it. So, all of you in the party are alive and caught, also with a few townies. Some of them survived, some have been stabbed. But your hero heart is burning. You want survival. You burn with anger. You've got something awakening in you. You've got a chance. You can escape this, but now's really not the time. There's too many. You're manacled. Your hands are in front of you. Your stuff is taken from you. Your armor is kept on. It's too heavy to take off. You're gagged. A couple dozen kobolds take you. Nat Nat and most of the others, they stay behind. They take all the loot and they head to the north off the road. You're going to remember that. You're going to remember the direction they went if you come back here again. But that's a future thing. This is actually the start of a really significant adventure for you all. If you had won this battle, you would have gone to that farm. You would have been attacked by goblins pretty much every night, and you would have fought them off, and then eventually the goblins would have stopped attacking. Everybody says, oh, great, we did a great job. They don't realize why the goblins stopped, because heroes stopped the goblins, heroes like you. So, this story is actually about how you are going to fight a more important battle by losing this one. By being kidnapped, you are going to become the heroes of the story that stops those goblin attacks. For now, you don't feel like heroes. You're being pushed, poked, you're led off southward, night is falling. Those of you in the party, if you have a good wisdom score, you know that you're heading kind of southeast. That kind of gives you a sense of direction, wisdom does. You who understand that language, the kobolds are debating how to find someone in these woods. And we're going to take a little break. We'll come back for the rest of your adventure. Everybody else gets a chance to shine. I'll tell you more about how to continue playing D&D. Stretch a bit. Use the loo. Toilets are right down there. Try to use it only if you really need it, because there's a lot of people. And I think there's 3 toilets, right? So come back here in 5 minutes, please. Sit right back where you started. Sanitize. And we'll continue the adventure in 5 minutes. Middle of the night, way past your bedtime. You see a bonfire ahead through the trees. And the kobolds start chattering excitedly. You come across the ruins of a big square tower made of red bricks, but it's just kind of a stub of that said tower. Sitting in the middle of this big box of bricks with a bonfire in the middle is a human in red robes. He has a sharp black beard. His hair is slicked down. His face isn't wrinkled, but he still seems very old somehow. Coming out of the bonfire, there's a spiky black chain coming out of the middle of it. And you're sure that you saw that chain twitch a little bit as you got close to it. He seems to be expecting you. The kobolds, they all chatter, they move around him. They're very slowly moving around, keeping their hands very still as they face him. They talk in Draconic. You, even if you understand Draconic, only hear a little bit. They're talking about what each of you did in battle, like that fight with the kobolds, what each of you did. The man nods. He gestures to a pile of gold coins nearby, and the kobolds take some. The kobolds all push you into the middle, right near that bonfire, in a ring around it. They've got these, daggers and pikes they brought, these long sort of handled things, and you're all in this very uncomfortable circle with your backs to the fire. The man looks at each of you with this sneer on his face. He says, "Prove to me that you are not useless, and perhaps I will spare you some of the pain in this world. Who else have you ever seen wearing anything red like my robe?" he says. So it's time for a different kind of hero. Who in your group has a wisdom score of +3? I don't have a slide for that. Your WIS, a wisdom score with a +3.
No one has +3.
Clerics, if you have a pink sheet. Yeah, see that? Yeah. So if the cleric has got the pink clerics, they have got a +3. Okay, that's fine. Hold up your sheet. Hold up your sheet, not your die this time. Hold up your sheet. All right. If you have no party, if your party does not have a cleric with a pink sheet, the noble fighter with the yellow sheet. You are pretty good at perception. You're raised to keep your eye on clothes. It's a status thing. So they'll say that if you don't have a cleric but you have a yellow sheet, you, as the yellow sheet, hold that up. So everybody's got somebody who's kind of wise or at least knows something about fashion. If you're holding up a sheet, you are going to write at least 1 and no more than 3 answers to this question on the back of your sheet. In your story so far, write down the times you saw someone else wearing a red item of clothing. There have been 3, not counting the guy in front of you. You can get ideas from others. Write down your best 3 ideas. You have just 30 seconds. The whole story I've told tonight. 3 red articles of clothing.
Maybe it wasn't red.
Okay, stop writing. Pencils down. Pencils down. But if you are a cleric or noble fighter, I give you another silent 10 seconds to continue, but now you can't hear from anybody. If you're a cleric or a noble fighter, you got 10 more seconds. You're good with perception. You've been observing things. 10 seconds going to run soon. Okay, stop. Stop writing. Here are the answers. The corpse in the library was wearing a red lounging robe. The dwarf singing in the Falling Water Inn was wearing a red fur cloak. And the giant baby had a red sash around its waist. Those are the answers. Make a check mark next to each of the correct answer you wrote down. So start with check marks. If you had a correct answer, write it down. 1, 0, 1, 2, or 3. Those of you who got at least 1 right, if you have at least 1 check mark, your party benefits, you're all winner, and here's what happens. The man in the red robes nods. He's interested. He gestures the kobolds. For each check mark that you have, each correct answer, if you wrote 3 or fewer, the kobold gives you a little red berry. So 1 check mark, you get 1 berry, 2 check marks, you get 2 berries. They're called good berries. You know that eating one gives you 1 HP. Now you, the winner, right? You can save all these berries for yourself. You can eat one right away, or you can give them to a friend. If you eat one, you add 1 HP. Not subtract this time, you add 1 HP. Wow, yes, mark that on your sheet. You can give others to others in your party. Look around. Who needs a hit point? If you've got only 1 berry, it's 1 person. 3 berries, 3 people can be helped. Or eat all 3 of them yourself. That's okay too. Even if you don't need them.
No, I think I would keep this, but I think it's necessary.
Or, yeah, if you keep the good berry, just write down on your sheet, like, I'm not going to eat any. Nobody's going to eat any. I'm going to write down 2 good berries. Write down 3 good berries. You either eat it and get hit points, or you write it down. It's another choice you've got. Okay. Well, they're having fun. Some people here maybe didn't get any good berries, all right? So, if you did not get any answers right, here's what happens to you. The man in the red robes sneers at you. Useless, he says. When we finally rule you natives, you will be like sheep for us to use. The spiked black chain that was in the fire suddenly lashes out. You are all slashed and burned, and you all lose 1 HP. If you have 0 check marks, you all lose 1 HP in that party.
You're quite welcome, everyone.
All right. A few hit points changes. Anybody 0 yet? All right. Okay. All right. Not 0 yet. The man in red, he waves the kobolds. They lead you away. All right. You march, continued, gagged, manacled. Even later, the kobolds get very excited. They're pulling vines off of some big box in the middle of the forest, covered with vines in a clearing, actually. It's overgrown, and when they pull it off, it's like a military crate. It's got a logo of a ram's head on the front of it, and it's titled with these old-timey letters, Roscoe Ripper, in the front. The kobolds argue, they fight about who gets to open it, they push each other around. One of them wins the wrestling contest, scrambles on top, opens up the lid, looks down, a big flare of sparks shoots out of it, and his head is burned off. Flop. And boom, boom, boom. Fireworks are shooting straight up out of the Roscoe Ripper crate, and they burst into sparks, and the sparks all rain down around you. One lands on a kobold. The kobold is set alight. The kobold runs around like crazy. Another one falls nearby. You all run and hide under a tree in this clearing, dodging those sparks, but they keep coming. The tree is catching on fire. Pretty soon there'll be nowhere to hide from these falling sparks. Boom, 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 they keep coming out. One of you needs to run out and close that crate. So it's time for a hero. Who is the best one in your party to run out there and do it? Because you have a dexterity saving throw of +5. There's a little section in the middle, small print, called Saving Throws. If you have a +5, you are the hero.
You better not run off.
You dodge those, yeah. You rogues with blue sheets, you have the +5, don't you? Yes, all right. You're a hero. Hold up your die if you're ready to roll. If you do not have a rogue in your party, maybe some of you are tied. Who has the highest, right? Who has a dexterity save of +3, right? The folk hero fighters are the green sheets. You have a saving throw of saving +3 on dexterity. Raise your die, so because you're the hero if you have no rogue and you're a green sheet. Still no. Maybe someone with a +2, you wizards. Maybe it's your turn. Okay. I think we're all covered. You heroes who are ready to go. You got your die ready? All right. You run out. You're dodging all that falling fire. You try to survive to get to the crate to get it closed. If you're holding up your die, roll it and add your dexterity save. I hear some pleased noises. Now this is the harder challenge yet. This seriously heroic stuff. Your total is at 14 or higher. All right. If you're 14 or higher with your bonus, you are a winner. And if 2 of you rolled, if you're tied for whatever reason, it means you both ran out. Only one of them succeeds, you're still a winner. Sanitize, sanitize. Okay. If your party has a winner, here's what happens to you. You run. You dodge each spark that's falling down. You jump over a burning log. You are tucking your legs under you to look really cool as you do it. A rocket fires out. You haven't seen one of those before. It bends towards you. It's heavy. You slap yourself down the ground. It goes over your head. You jump up again. You roll around for the last few meters with manacles. That's pretty hard to do. And you kick with your feet up at the lid. Slam. You slam it shut, and you are all saved. Very nice. Very nice. If your party did not have a winner, if you did not roll high enough, here's what happens to you. Your hero tries the best they can. They dodge, they jump, a spark falls on them, they scream, they brush it off, another one falls on them. This is not working out. They run back to the tree. The tree is alight. They can't stay there. All of you are running all over the place. Sparks are falling on all of you. Thankfully, the fireworks stop eventually, but in all that craziness, you each lose 1 hit point. You each lose 1 hit point if your hero did not shut the crate. Anybody at 0 yet? Somebody had 1 hit point. Did you get a good berry? Hey, good berries. Okay, all right. Whew. Nobody's at 0? All right, doing very well. All right, your march continues a little bit further. Oh, how long is this going to go on? You could swear that the sky is starting to lighten on the horizon. You enter a burned forest. Hulks of burned trees just like sticking up out of the ground. There's ash all over the ground. They're all kind of gentle hills, and as you're moving south, you can tell you're going south. You're kind of going lower in elevation. Then a rainstorm breaks out, and the rainstorm is acidic. It picks up the ash or something, like it just stings your skin. The kobolds seem to be especially sensitive to it. So you all scrambling around, they find a charred, foundation of a house that used to be here, just stones on the floor, and there's a trap door in the middle of it. They open that charred trap door, and you all go down into this basement and slam it shut to get away from the rain. Whew, the kobolds are like, yeah, they make a lot of noise, but you can't really see. Kobolds can see in the dark, it turns out. Some of you can see in the dark, but they're especially good at it. When your eyes adjust, these gleeful kobolds, they're sitting around a chest. Ooh, this is a proper chest this time. No, not again. Come on, kobolds. But no. Oh, they love whatever's in that chest. They are arguing once again about who gets to open it. There's no stopping their greed. They're just about to tear it open, but one of them says, and she holds up a little thing. It's a lockpick. Ooh, thieves' tools. All the kobolds go, oh, and they all back off. And she comes up to it with these little tiny needles to try to open up the lock, with not just tearing it open. Okay. Tension. She fiddles with it. A little bit of a click. She twists one last time. The lock pops open. The lock has been picked. They're like, And then bam, 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 bam. The four sides of the chest fall away, and there's a glass box inside. There's a bunch of little dark shapes at the bottom of the box, and they rise in a cloud. Bzzz, this buzzing gets louder, and they start swirling around inside. And they start tapping away at the glass harder and harder. But that's the last thing that most of you see, because nearly all of you and all the kobolds are overwhelmed by a sleepiness where you black out as that buzz rises. You are in dreamland, and we'll sort out in a minute who stays awake. But whoever stays awake will see that on the front of the chest, there's an arcane logic puzzle of some sort that wizards are fond of, and the idea is that only other very intelligent people are allowed to open this chest. So, wizards can solve this, but all of you take a look at this. Here's an easy version of one of these kinds of puzzles. What you do is you push one of the tiles at the bottom, and then they're helpfully labeled with letters, so you'd write down your answer A, B, C, D, or E, or F. You figure out the pattern by looking at each row, and they're all going to be left to right. I'll give that to you, right? So you look at the top row, you go from left to right, what's the pattern? Left to right on the second row, what's the pattern? Hopefully you can deduce what the pattern is, and now you can deduce what the proper answer is at the end, right? It's a logic puzzle. Which letter completes by using the same logic? What letter? A, exactly. So the top row, the black square moves to the right, stays in its row. Second one, the black square moves to the right, but stays in its row. Third one, this is a really easy one, I know, but I like teaching D&D layer by layer. I don't want to leave anyone behind. So you can see that A is the correct answer because the box has moved over all the way to the right. Okay, that's an easy one. Here's another one. See if you are a wizard. Another example. You're a wizard, Harry. Which one is right? Think quick. You're going to have to do this quick next time. F. F? Who got F? Yeah? Getting F? You see why? The block is sort of sliding along its line. You see it slides from one end to the middle to the other end. The stick is at a different angle, but it's still sliding. The stick is at a different angle, but it's still sliding. F has got it slid all the way to the bottom, following the same rule. There's one good answer, and that is F. All right. So it's time for a hero. Who in your party is awake? Who is an elf? Look at the top of your sheet. You wizards, with the purple sheets, you are elves. You are an elf. You are a hero because elves are immune to magical sleep. It's just one of the nice things about being an elf. You don't even sleep. It doesn't bother you at all. So this spell that put everybody to sleep, you're like, ho, this is my chance. And look at this chest. I know how to do this. So that is you. Get your sheet ready. Get your pencil ready because you are the one that's going to try to solve this puzzle, and you're going to have a bit of time to do it. Now, if there's multiple elves, we don't have that. If your party does not have an elf, why don't you have an elf? Okay, if you don't have an elf, that's bad news. Find who in the party has the highest intelligence bonus. Intelligence bonus. So elves are smart. Elf wizards are smart. They got a +3. But who has at least a +1? The rogues? Yeah, with blue sheets. You got a +1. That's all right. So if you're an elf, you're the hero. If you have no elf, then it looks like you're rogues because you got the highest intelligence bonus in the whole crew. If you got a tie, if you both got +1, you can both stay awake. All right. So that means, rogues, you need to be smart on the streets. You know how to, you've stayed up late. You've been hungover a lot. You know how to keep your eyes open if necessary. So you are barely able to stay awake, but it's not quite as good as being an elf. You get ready. Those of you who've got your sheets, you're going to flip over the sheet, get ready to write an answer on the back of your sheet. Now, this is fun. Everyone except the elven wizards, I'm talking to the rogues too. Everyone except the elven wizards, you're asleep at first. Rogues, you're asleep for a moment. Everybody apart from the wizards, close your eyes. For real, close them. This is where we take all of your wallets. This is the best part. Close your eyes for real. Rogue, close them too. Keep them closed. Elves, your eyes should only be open if you're an elf. Elves, you did not fall asleep. You're looking at a glass box full of bees. The buzzing is getting louder. This rattling is going to break. You look at the front of the chest and see a puzzle. You need to push one of the tiles to pick the right answer. Elves only. Write down the answer before the time runs out. And here it is. You'll write the right answer on your sheet. Don't call it out. Rogues, you fight off the sleep and wake up. Rogues only, open your eyes. Look at and try to write down the correct answer. Box is going to break soon. Bzz, 3, 2, 1, stop. Pencils down. The answer is D. The answer is D. This one, a little bit more complicated. This hollow box rotates around the middle axis. The dot always stays in the same place, but the box rotates kind of in a clockwise fashion. So here, it's rotated clockwise while the dot stays. Here, the dot's the same. It's rotated onto it. Here, it stayed in the same place. It rotates around. So therefore, that correct answer is D, where the box is moved over. It's rotated one more clockwise, and that's the answer. Okay. The answer is D. If you wrote a D, either a rogue or a wizard. Rogues, you had less time, so especially good job if you got that one right. You are a winner. If your party has a winner, here's what happens to you. You furrow your brow, hero. You look at the puzzle. Everyone else is asleep. The buzzing is very loud. The glass is cracking. There's just a few seconds left. You push the correct tile. The bees all fall to the bottom. The bees are now asleep. Everyone else wakes up, and the top of the glass box opens. As everybody is kind of like, oh, what the fuck happened? You look inside that box amongst all the sleeping bees. You see ancient gold medallions. If you are a winner, only the one who got the right answer, only you, write your treasure on your sheet only, a 3 next to the GP for gold pieces. You only have 3 gold pieces. That's same as 30 silver pieces or 300 copper pieces. So you're rich. Imagine like each gold piece about 50 bucks, right? In today's, so you're feeling pretty good. You pocket this now before anyone's awake, just in case, the kobold's gonna wake up, they'll take it off of you. It's up to you, whoever took that, to decide to share it with your party. You can't do it now though, because the kobolds are watching. But if you end up in a party with other people, if somebody says, hey, those 3 gold pieces you got, can I have one of those? You might consider giving it to them or say, I don't know what you're talking about. It's up to you. Okay, if you don't have a winner, here's what happens to you. You do the best you can, but you pick the wrong tile or you just can't decide in time. The crate shatters. Bees fly out. Bees everywhere. The bees sting everyone. Everyone in the party take 1 hit point of damage. The kobolds all take 1 point of damage. Oh, that's got to be a relief. And it woke you up. That's nice. You all run up the stairs. You're out of the bee swarm. You shut the trap door. Is anyone at 0 yet? All right. Whew, okay. We're at the end because the burned forest drops away. There's a jagged canyon off to the south now. You can see that canyon continues off to the east in a very straight line. And as it goes east, you can see the ground is really weird and warped. Like the ground gets kind of weird and wavy in the distance in a way that couldn't possibly be natural. You're at the edge of a canyon, looking down that canyon that way. You see that there's caves set in all of the walls of this canyon. The canyon kind of ends, nearby before it extends to the east. So it's this big sort of horseshoe shape. And there's monsters. Many different kinds of monsters everywhere down there. Luckily, you, like the kobolds, are kind of peeking over the edge. They make you hide in the bushes and you're all looking. There's a marching row of goblins. They're short, they're squat. Goblins have recently arrived in this land and they think this land is theirs. Like you all are just the natives that they're going to get rid of. They are going out, they're conquering farms, they're burning down trees, they're polluting rivers. They're goblins! This is what they love to do. So you see a line of them, organized with marching packs and like led by hobgoblins who are very tall and very scary looking in a beeline to the north. They're dangerous and they have military gear. They have banners. And you heard that there's some raids, some goblin raids starting up on those farms. Maybe the raids come from here. You also see orcs. Orcs are big. They're bigger than you and they have tusked teeth. They don't have any weapons and they're on a flat part down below you. There's two groups of them. Half of them are wearing red loincloths, half of them are wearing blue loincloths, and they're like wrestling and knocking into each other on the two sides. And one of them is holding like a stuffed pig. Like, what the fuck? Prisoners. Kobolds want you to go down the steep slope, dodging from bush to bush. You know, the monsters are not seeing you. You're ducking around. You reach a cave at the bottom of this canyon, out of which more kobolds come. But these are new looking. They have a splotchy gray skin. Your captors, the ones who ambushed you, they have very light gray skin, smooth gray with sort of snowy patches on them. These are all kind of splotted and splotchy and mottled looking. It seem two different tribes of kobolds. They, the splotchy ones, give bags of gold or bags of coins to the kobolds that have been taking you all this way. Some sort of exchange happens. The snowy kobolds fuck off north. Off they go. They've done their job. They've got their money. They leave you behind. The splotchy kobolds, they put bags over your heads. You're led through what you can only guess is the narrow cave that you saw, but you can't see. You can hear the echoing. You hear each other. You're bumping into each other. It twists and turns a little bit. But there's a sound, you can hear on your left side like a huge opening. It's all echoey back there. And you kind of feel like a metal grating because you sort of bump into the side. You hear a scream, a human scream off that distance. I see it. I see the shard. Behind the rocks, get it, get the shard. And you hear this horrible crunching sound of like metal clanging through rock. You just keep on going. You're shoved together into a small space. You sort of touch some bricks and you back up and you can feel like some iron bars, like rusty iron bars, just clang, and you feel on all sides. You realize that you are in a jail cell. The kobolds who've been chattering, their chattering is quieter. You can't reach them because you are trapped. But you can still hear that distant screaming in the distance. So that's it for now. Hopefully you're keen to know what happens next, are you? You want to know what happens next in the story we're making? Well, that is where the next event comes in, everybody. All right, so this is for a real D&D session. We get around a table, as I described earlier. We start off with up to 10, so a maximum of 10, right? But it quickly boils down. People might show for a session or two, so don't worry. Like 10, that sounds like too many. Yeah, it's too many, but you're all beginners. It's not so bad. It eventually gets down to a small enough number. I will be the DM. You will be the players. It's much different than this. It's just me and the 10 or 5 of you, however many show up. You have much more autonomy, right? I don't give you can choose A or B. You have many choices. You have an overwhelming number of choices that I try to keep simple at first. I'll give you A, B, and C choices if you like, if you want to keep it simple, but you can be much more creative. You have a lot of choice. You have a lot of things on your sheet that you can choose to do at any moment. There's infinite possibilities because everything branches and causes all that world to change. This whole thing of very simple choices, obviously, to keep it moving. This many people, real D&D is much wider. So you can come back here again and again every 2 weeks, and we continue the story. Usually you stay the same character. You can, the character you started here. You can gain more levels, you can gain more loot, keep the loot you've got. I just want to put in a word, there's many kinds of RPGs. D&D has a lot of rules and mechanics. It's what you call a rule-heavy system, but that's my favorite because I'm a game designer from way back. But some RPGs are much less rules, much more story. They're much more like improv theater, and they don't necessarily even have a DM. You're just sitting around making it up together. That's also great, so seek those out. There's things called like Fiasco, Dungeon World, the Apocalypse system. Those are good things to think for. Ask me about them. There's a meetup event. It's called the New Party Formation thing. Everybody is welcome, but you can find other people. Maybe you're a little bit too advanced to join my group. Maybe you're looking for a different RPG. Come to that pub meetup. Go to meetup.com. That'll be coming up very soon. You can meet each other and find things. Especially if you're advanced, that's great. Keep that character sheet. That is yours, so please take that. You can start using the next pages. As you might have noticed, each page is just your character over again with more detail. You can ignore or change that backstory, by the way, so don't be bound down by too many of those things. You can start making your own. You can make a new level 1 character. I'll post something on. I advise you to use these for a while, though, if you come back. So come to the next event. It is going to be right here in 2 weeks, both Thursday in 2 weeks and also the Wednesday before that. So in 13 days or 14 days from tonight, you can come right here. Again, it's just first come, first seat. It'll be around a table. It's going to be real D&D. It's still for absolute beginners. Now, I know maybe some of you came here because you're a little experienced with D&D. Somebody has like a million dice over there. That's great. It's going to be too slow for people who know D&D. I am very much layering it on a bit at a time. There's lots of great beginner D&D things. If you know a bit about D&D, go to Netherworld, go to other meetup things. I am for absolute beginners. So much that if too many people show up, those people who have never rolled a die before tonight, or at least never had any more close to fun rolling with a die, they get priority. And if they've been to this intro event, they get first priority, and the table can fill up. Because I want to introduce the world to D&D. So soon, if you do that, you'll be able to play with any DM in the world. By the time you go through several of these games, you'll have all the basics, and I'll have taught you a little bit of time, and you're ready to branch out. The Meetup link is right here on the screen. You probably saw it on Meetup already, but in case you didn't, you have a white sheet next to you. It's important for two reasons. One is that's a feedback form. Please give me feedback. Comments on that are really important. But you can also tear off the bottom of that sheet as a little scrap of paper that you can take with you that has these addresses on them. If you have the Meetup app on your phone, just search for, quote, D&D beginners, and I think you'll find me right away. You'll see it. All right, so on your way out, please donate. I have a hat. You can give me coins, but I also have a card reader. Yes, I take credit cards as well. This is actually a negative profit enterprise. I'm committed to negative profit. I don't pay myself for time spent. Nobody ever gets paid. But I sell books and dice at a loss to players who can't afford them. Of course, I'm paying for, the dice and the papers, and meetup.com costs a lot and all that stuff. So I have the chip reader. So please donate if you like. If you give $5, you get a character chip. This is something that as you play, this stands for your character. You have different arcane signals and axes and things. You get to put it on the map and move yourself around the map and feel real cool. So you get one of those for free. If you give $20, you get a die. Please do not take the big fat die there. But if you donate $20, you can keep the die. That is a donation. Again, I have an open ledger. You can look me up. I can prove that I've lost a few $100s over the years total between donations, what I spend, but I love doing it. I'm going to keep doing it forever. Whether you donate or not, I appreciate the donations. You can leave everything there at the table after you fill out your feedback form. Leave that there. Leave the dice there. Leave your wrappers there. If there's wrappers on the floor, please do. If you really feel nice, try stacking your chairs next to chairs next to you. Just make it easier on all of us. After I clean up here, I'm going to Netherworld. Yes! So Netherworld, look it up on your app. It's right nearby. I'll be there maybe in 10 minutes after I do a quick sweep. So anybody who's at Netherworld, just walk on up to me. Hopefully I'll recognize you, but I'll be a bit loopy and drinking beer. We can talk more. And look on meetup.com for our next event, the pub event or those ongoing things. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. All right, have a good night. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Yeah, had a lot of fun. Hey, thanks, everybody.